Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Hope you all doing well. Well, our today's topic is weather and climate. So let us start. First, we will try to learn about the weather. Well, is it going to rain today? Will it be bright and sunny today? How many times have we heard this from anxious cricket fans speculating the fate of a one-day match? If we imagine our body to be a radio and the mind is a speaker, weather is something that fiddles with its control knobs. Well, what's weather then? Weather is this hour to hour and day to day condition of the atmosphere. Please write down on your notebooks. Weather is the hour to hour and day to day condition of the atmosphere. A hot or humid weather may make one irritable. If the weather is hot and humid, it will make one irritable. You will feel uncomfortable. You will feel restless. Instead of that, if the weather is pleasant and breezy, this kind of weather may make one cheerful and even plan for an outing. If the weather is pleasant and breezy, you will plan to go for a picnic, isn't it? Yes. Weather can change dramatically from day to day. However, the average weather condition of a place for a long period of time represents the climate of a place. Weather can change dramatically from day to day. It changes, it continues to change. After every hour, there is a change in the weather. However, the average weather condition of a place for a longer period of time represents the climate of a place. Okay? Now you understand why we have daily weather forecasts. I advise you to go for 10 days. Please do note for 10 days the weather report from a local newspaper and observe the changes occurring in the weather. For the 10 days, note down weather report from a local newspaper or radio. You can also collect the information from the radio or the internet and observe the changes occurring in the weather. It will help you understand the weather and the changes that occur in it. Now, temperature. What's temperature? The temperature you feel every day is the temperature of the atmosphere. It's actually the temperature of the atmosphere that makes you feel hot or cold. The degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as temperature. The degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as temperature. The temperature of the atmosphere changes not only between day and night, but also from season to season. There is a difference of temperature, a change in the temperature between the day and night, and also from season to season the temperatures change. The temperatures change from season to season. Summers are hotter than winters. An important factor that influences the distribution of temperature is insolation. The factor that influences the distribution of temperature is insolation. What's insolation? Insolation is the incoming solar energy Insolation is the incoming solar energy intercepted by the earth. Insolation is the incoming solar energy intercepted by the earth. The amount of insolation decreases from the equator towards the poles. At the equator, the amount of insolation is increased. It is greater, it is higher at the equator. And when we go towards the poles, the amount of insolation decreases. That's why the temperature decreases in the same manner when we go towards the poles. Now, do you understand why poles are covered with snow? Because the temperature there is not too high. The temperature at the poles remains low, so the poles remain snow covered throughout the year. There are big glaciers and ice rivers on the poles because the temperatures there are not too high. If the Earth's temperature rises too high, it would become too warm for some crops to grow. Crops cannot grow properly if the temperature rises too high. If the Earth's temperature rises too high, it would become too warm for some crops to grow. Temperature in cities is much higher than that of the villages because the concrete and metals in buildings and the asphalt of the roads get heated up during the day. This heat is released during the night. Also, the crowded high-rise buildings of the cities trap the warm air and thus rise the temperature of the cities. So we can see a difference in the temperature between the cities and the villages. Cities are hotter than the villages. In the villages you feel the cool temperature mostly, while as in the cities it is hot. Now some points for you to note. What is weather? Weather is the hour-to-hour and day-to-day condition of the atmosphere. What's climate? The average weather condition of a place for a longer period of time represents the climate of a place. I repeat, the average weather condition of a place for a longer period of time represents the climate of a place. What's temperature? The temperature of the atmosphere, it changes. The temperature you feel every day is the temperature of the atmosphere. The degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as temperature. I repeat, the degree of hotness and coldness of the air is known as temperature. What's insolation? Insolation is the incoming solar energy intercepted by the earth. So these are the few points about the weather and climate that you must please note and remember. Thank you very much.